Andrew Bridgen.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And the title of this evening's debate is Making Britain the Best Place to Grow Up and Grow Old, but it needs to be seen against the backdrop of our recent COVID pandemic and the recovery from it. Throughout the pandemic, we've rightly been drawn parallels with surviving a war. Indeed, often it was called the battle against COVID, whether it was the coming together of our nation at the beginning of the pandemic, the shows of national unity, demonstration of national unity as we appreciate the key workers that delivered all those services that we needed, or whether it was the unprecedented rollout with volunteers of health programmes to protect the vulnerable, or whether it was the eye-watering cost of the expenditure. And every year in November we have a day to remember those who gave their lives in war, and we rightly know that's a debt that we can never repay. But I'm conscious, Madam Deputy Speaker, that there are also millions of people in our society today who we owe a debt to as a result of the lockdowns and the privations of COVID that must also be repaid. And they are our children and our young people. We knew all along that those millions of children and young people were at the very least risk of the virus. Yet we still, as a House, consciously chose to lock them away for the safety of others, and they have suffered. I've heard from young adults who've never got the chance to do those things that are seen as a rite of passage for young people and define points in their lives. Many have never experienced the pressure of having to take exams, and they're not sure if they've got the resilience to be able to cope with it. Others worry that their teacher-assessed grades may be seen as devalued qualifications. They didn't get to go to the proms, they didn't get to go to their end-of-year assembly, they didn't get to say goodbye to their friends. All these things, both small and large, help prepare them for the challenges of adulthood, despite the fact that, as a whole, they were incredibly low risk from the virus. I do fear for their mental health, and I fear for their resilience moving forward. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, we owe them. I've heard from secondary schools in my constituency who tell me that children moving up to them are far behind what the professionals would expect them to be at, both academically and socially. Giving children laptops to work from home during lockdowns was all well and good, but not always was the work appropriate, and without the correct parental support. For some parents just didn't have the skills to support their children all the time, as we would like them to have done. Once again, these children were at little risk, and they've had precious years of their education taken away from them to protect others, and we owe them, Madam Deputy Speaker. There are infants starting out their educational journey far behind normal development targets. Local nurseries telling me the children can't toilet themselves, they're lacking social skills and confidence. They've got the longest time to catch up, but catch up they must, or they will bear the scars of the COVID pandemic longer than any of us. Primary schools, they're also noting deficits in social skills in all years, but significantly in Year 2, those children who've lost their foundation years due to COVID, so crucial for their development. And for those who didn't receive sufficient parental support, the damage is even harder. Government must legislate to ensure every opportunity is made available for our children and young people to catch up. Over the term, the price they will be paying will be higher than any of us. With minimal risk to them, they've lost huge opportunities. In a civilised society, Madam Deputy Speaker, I expect adults to make sacrifices for our children and young people. I do not expect our children and young people to make sacrifices to us. We have a debt to them, and it must be repaid, and all government legislation must take into account the damage we've done through pandemic recovery to our children and young people, because our children and young people, they are the future of our country, and they need to be protected. Thank you.